Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited for our Thoughtful Thursdays today. We have a wonderful guest, and he has so much to tell us and teach us about the second half of life. So I want to just thank you for coming and uh, my wonderful co-host, Barbara Ellison.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited to talk to Brian.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian. So we're going to cut right to the chase now. Everybody grab your favorite beverage. And Brian, take us away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I want to start with those. You are always too young to not enjoy life.
I know, I love that.
I love that.
Perfect for aging
Just saying.
experts.
Well, you actually talk about the first half and the second half. I haven't gotten to the second half yet, so I don't know what you're talking about.
But the second half can start at any time.
Well, I just figured the second half will start at like age 100. So,
Exactly.
so it's it's jokingly. I mean, you hear people talking about age just being a number, and I jokingly tell people I just turned 14. And part of that's like, part of that's because of the evolution of my own journey is embedded in my work. As most of us, that's part. It's what we're doing, and in some amazing ways, I'm still a toddler, and I relish every moment of that kind of like wobbling around and adventuring and just being in love with life, as toddlers can often be. Especially if they're unrestrained toddlers, then they can just experiment with everything, electrical sockets, doorknobs, whatever it is. So, anyway, so I have, if you're going to ask me for my origin story, we don't have enough time, but I will tell you that I lived in the first few decades of my life to live a fairly reactive life. Like I wasn't really highly aware. And planned in different ways. Like I had goals for money and things like that. The modern trappings of life, but I had not mapped out my life in a way of being happy. And so, since your show is about aging, I would like to point out that I think the thing that ages us the fastest is when we start chipping away at our happiness and don't do anything about getting it back. What's the expression I've heard? I can't remember. I can't remember who wrote it. It might have been one of the playwrights, but it was we don't stop having fun because we're aging. We age because we stop having fun. I did a paraphrase there, but the gist of that is that's a very powerful statement because I think we all too often get serious about our journeys. We got bills to pay and accidents to clean up after and all these other things, and seem to start, we lose our curiosity. We lose it's not, when I say we, it's the royal we, right? And so when I say we lose our in some ways just passionate for a living, because we get worn down by these events that we take so seriously. And I'm not suggesting that a car accident or a death or an illness or a mortgage payment isn't something to be concerned about. It's just that it's an inevitable part of life, and we have to kind of take stock in why are we here and get a little bit beyond the moment of having to pay a bill, even if that weighs us down, and kind of look to a place where we can be more, have a higher capacity for seeking out joy and achieving that. And a lot of that's in the fun and adventure of life, which if we can get back to, and again, I totally understand for people who are struggling with cash flow or struggling with money, it's very hard to think about having adventure. Although I have met some of the most remarkable people. I did like 3,500 interviews with, I call them micro interviews, but I did 3,500 interviews with people in 2019 through 2021. And in those 3,500 interviews, I met some remarkable people from all walks of life, all cash positions in life, all areas of existence. And I will tell you, some of the happiest people I ever met were the people who had, if you were looking at from the modern trappings of success and all that stuff, they had the least to offer. And it kind of goes back to that expression from the Bible, is the meek shall inherit the earth. And I really think what that's really telling you is those of us who find the ability to develop power in our lives when we could otherwise have a sense of powerlessness, we are indeed the most powerful people. And I think that's what makes us young, that we get a chance to tap into that power and find resilience and a different way of looking at achievement and building relationships, which I think, relationships are the center of all of this if you get right down into it. Okay, so I just burped out all that stuff. And in my own journey, my journey was going from this highly reactive, unaware individual to a person who has super awareness, and is now in the mission for the rest of my journey, which I also think makes me a little bit more ageless, is to serve as many people as possible to get into this place of joy that I largely sit in today.
Right.
So,
and I think the biggest thing is being aware.
Aware, yeah.
Be aware.
Yes.
Of how are you responding to everything that's happening around you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're just all over each other today. But I when you're talking, I'm thinking back to the people, not necessarily in the middle of the Depression, but the children of the Depression, that they grew. So I didn't know we were poor, or because the families kind of came together and they supported each other. And even people from my childhood and right before me saying, we wore hand-me-downs. We played in the yard and with sticks, so to speak. I mean, it wasn't that extreme, but that because they had their family and their friends around them and their parents that were there, and their mom typically was home, and they didn't have all the trappings of today. They weren't latchkey kids. And so they, but they were grateful.
More important, they weren't tethered to an electronic device.
Exactly.
Don't take that away from me, though. I love my phone.
Yeah, but think how many people you see in a restaurant and everybody at the table is on their phone, probably including the three of us at times, on your phone answering just a quick question, or the kids that are playing games and never have any conversation. I love those restaurants that require you to put your phone in a basket on the table.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. Where is that?
I've not been to one, but I've heard of it.
Well, I think that there's something to be said for that, is that
it's like there's a basket on the table. If you're going to eat in that restaurant, your phone goes in that basket and you don't touch it during
If you connect the dots, part of being ageless is having access to joy and fun.
Yes.
And part of joy and fun is about being present in a way that allows you to experience what's going on before you in terms of relationships and a relationship with Earth and self. Yeah. So when your head's down in your device, your relationship is outside of you, and that, I think, that actually has risk. It's not a guarantee thing, but it has risk creating aging properties, because now you're medicating, or at risk of medicating. Maybe you have something you don't want to deal with, or maybe something. So when you're medicating to stay stuck, which this device is really good at helping you with, then that could actually start putting the brakes on that ageless and timeless type of being present in your journey and having energy and exuberance and joy. Last year
we're designed to be social. Okay.
Oh yeah.
We're not designed to be social media.
Oh, I love that. Well, I got to write that one down anyway. But yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, social media is not. Those are fairly artificial relationships.
Right. And one of my favorite things right now is, don't compare your everyday life to someone else's highlight reel.
Yes.
Oh, that's what the problem is for me, huh? I don't have my feet in the lounge chair facing the beach.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's like, but the thing is, when my sister and brother-in-law and I, we travel before all this craziness, we traveled a lot together. But we would literally schedule playtime on our phones. So we would all get together we would have a wonderful conversation, but part of the time that we were spending together in that restaurant, it's like, okay, they have really good Wi-Fi, to tell you the truth. Okay, this restaurant has really good Wi-Fi. So we're going to spend half an hour playing. And we would all be playing. Oh, look, this is what I'm playing. Oh, this is what I'm playing. It was part of the conversation, but it was playing. And that can be part of your relationship too. But it's when, like, I see my grandchildren, they're all sitting on the couch and they're texting each other.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
I
Or
remember
playing
this,
a game with each other. I
this
mean,
goes-
that's probably okay.
this goes back to something that I experienced years ago when I was still not as aware as I am today, but I was starting to pay attention to certain kinds of patterns that showed up. So my brother and his family were visiting us probably for like holidays or something to that effect. And my daughter, I only have one child, and my niece and nephew were upstairs in my daughter's bedroom playing. And I don't remember if it was an announcement for dinner or if it was they had to go, or I don't. So my brother goes, I'll text my son to have, they'll come down. I'm like, it's a flight of stairs.
My niece
Why do you
does
have to text him? Like, I don't, this is absurd. Like, I can see, like, I'm in the middle of a meeting here and I need to send a message to somebody in the household while I'm in the meeting. That's a little different because getting up can disrupt the meeting. But this was just us sitting around hanging out in the living room, and he could not, he did. He climbed those stairs. Actually, he didn't. He yelled from the bottom of the stairs.
I was going to say there's that too.
So instead of calmly going upstairs and getting them and letting the rest of us continue our chat, he had to disrupt everything twice, by one doing the texting and then the second thing going to the bottom of the stairs. And so anyway, what it tells you about things is how intrinsically, I don't want to use the word lazy because I don't believe human beings by nature are lazy. I think they end up with squashed dreams or squashed perspective. Yes. And there could be a lot of reasons for that, you know, parent beatings when they were kids to whatever else happens along the way. But the major thing about being able to be timeless or ageless in our journeys is having fostering this sense of exuberism for life. Like, the love of my life, this is what I like to tell people, and it really feeds into that phrase, you're always too young to not enjoy life. The love of my life is my life. Everything else then can blend in better because now I love my life. I love myself. I love my journey. I love every aspect of it. And by the way, there are lots of uncomfortable things that happened. Last year, actually 2021, I had major surgery, major stuff that I could have died. If anything, that just made me appreciate life more.
Right.
So
right.
like, this, every once in a while I'm going, crap, I just spent all this money on that project and now I don't have enough money for that over there. So it's money still plays in the calculus of life. It's not like I'm sitting here with deep pockets and can just be, you guys should catch up to me. I'm just part of the masses in terms of how money flows into my journey. If I'm not careful, I can make money a heavy weight. And when I don't make it a heavy weight, by the way, money flows fairly nicely. So I just have to learn to step back from that. So the idea of being ageless is about that area of being present and really fostering a joyful, a pursuit of joy is probably a better phrase of looking at it. I don't even like to use the word pursuit. It's just kind of low energy. It sounds like you're chasing something you can't catch, but I do believe I am happier today than I ever was in any earlier part of my journey. Ooh, look at that cat. That's a happy cat.
She is. I've tried to keep her out. She knocks things over when I try.
She's pulled her background down and all kinds of things.
So they're like kids. Cats and dogs are like kids. When you're not paying attention to them, they start barking or,
Right, exactly. I swear she knows when I'm on Zoom.
Well, and then she's like, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Yes. And she just comes and then sits on my lap, and then all of a sudden she just pops off again. But anyway.
Good for her.
But Brian, what a great conversation. This is absolutely the truth. Because one of the things for me is that, you know me, I'm into aging gracefully. Well, you know what? Aging it's about just being your best you.
Mhm.
Are you being your best you?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you trying to be someone else?
Well, I think you kind of hit it on the head. That the ultimate, I mean, I kind of said this before when I was saying this is the love of my life is my life, but it is like
That's
the ultimate relationship in your journey is with yourself. And I want to, like, for those people who are like religious or have this sense that the universe is the center of everything, I, I don't I don't want to disparage that notion, other than just maybe do a little shift in that narrative, and that is whether you're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, you study a life of Sikhi, or just broad general spiritualism, whatever the case may be. I don't believe that the universe or God or the source or the force or whatever you want to call that stuff is something other. I think we are that, and that is
it is.
us. So in you know, with that ability to understand that relationship, that so you have the love of your life is your life, it really is saying at the same time the love of your life is your relationship with the universe, because I think we are all one in that regard. And that's written, if you look at the Bible with the right perspective, it absolutely says that over and over and again. If you look at the Quran, it says that over and over again. If you look at the source of Hinduism, it talks about the same thing. Buddhism is talking about the enlightenment of self, and how that connection is to all these things. They all say the same thing. So I feel like can't get it wrong if you take that perspective. And so far, it has been a huge value in my being able to carry my journey with higher sense of optimism. I have Sean Anker wrote a book called The Happiness Advantage. Gosh, the book's probably at this point 11, 12 years old. And one of the things that's in that book is that if you look at the graph of depressed to happiness, most of the population is kind of like someplace on that line, but most of the people who take life seriously are below the line. That line is sort of like, where are you happy relative to your perspectives? I can't explain it without showing the graph any further. So I'll just kind of say there's a line, and if you're below the line, you're less happy. If you're above the line, you have more happiness. And the gist of that is that one of the best things we could do in our lives is figure out how to get a higher happiness set point.
Right.
That is an ageless characteristic. People who are happy live longer, but they don't just live longer. They live higher quality journeys because they don't get as sick as easily. In fact, health or lack thereof is a direct corollary between happiness and not happiness. You can fake joy. I could be miserable as all get out because I'm waking up every day with some major ache. And so I will fake joy to a degree, but that pain is eating at me because it's a constant reminder. So to be ageless, we need to figure out how to get to happiness. And I do believe, don't fake it, but faith your way to happiness, and your aches and pains will diminish. The things that make your journey uncomfortable will diminish. They may not completely go away, but again, it's about raising our happiness set point, not about going all the way to happy and staying there.
Right. One of the things that we have said over and over on our shows is to, number one, watch your thoughts and watch the words of your mouth, but also be grateful. Wake up in the morning, be grateful. You woke up, be grateful. The sun came up. I mean, those are two things that are unchangeable if you're here and breathing right now.
Right.
Those two things have happened.
Well,
And so
those
you can always find something to be grateful for.
Those
And
micro interviews that I did, those 3,500 micro interviews, one of my questions was, what was the best thing that happened for you today? The number one answer is, I'm alive or I woke up. The number one answer. Probably 65, 70% of the people, that was their answer. Some of them said, I got a new job, or I just, whatever what it is. But I over and over and over again, I heard.
So that's a constant if people stop and look at the good versus what we perceive as the good and the bad.
And I think it shows kind of that human beings have an appreciation for things even when they're not conscious of that appreciation.
Yes.
Oh, but it makes it so much a better life when you are conscious of it,
Mhm,
and you
absolutely.
specifically say thank you.
Look, awareness can make you really depressed if you're looking at life in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But awareness can be an amazing, joyful factor when you look at life in the right way. And learning all those intricacies, maybe more than we can do in this limited time conversation, but
And it's a
it's,
journey. That's the
mhm.
thing. Learning all those intricacies are a journey. Like one of the things that I learned this morning, a tip from another coach, and she was saying what she does with her clients is she has them set a timer to go off randomly during the day. And when it goes off, she has to take 2 minutes and write down what she was thinking about, what her thoughts were. I went, oh, wow. Because randomly during the day, what are our thoughts? And
Right.
Carol and I
That's
talk
kind of
about
a
it all.
cool practice.
I said, and I told her, I said, Rachel, I'm gonna use that. She said, oh, very good,
Don't you love it when
just
people call you in the middle of your stuff?
yeah,
Yes,
we love it.
yes.
I
Yeah.
get that all the time. I'm in the middle of an almost intense conversation with somebody. It's beautiful and rich, and
That's
okay.
okay.
I,
Well,
I will answer that on text because it is an important one. But so we both got it.
so we both got it. But it's exactly the truth. Is that just be aware, be grateful, be aware of your thoughts. And I thought that was just such a great exercise. I said, I'm going to use that. And she said, yeah. And she has found it to be really effective because she deals with people that have addictions, addiction recovery.
Right.
And she said, that's one of the things. It's like, what do you think? What are you, okay. When the alarm goes off, they have to take 2 minutes and they have to commit to it. How many times they do, the more times you do it, the more you'll see a pattern. But even if you only do it once a day, like I wake up in the morning and I'm happy and all good, but I go to bed feeling grumpy because of what's happened gone in the day, write those down. So it was just a really interesting exercise. So I just thought I'm going to use it now. Here I get to share it.
Well,
Cool.
and I want to point out something, and I know both of y'all have heard this, and I may butcher it, but it's that if you're looking back, you're depressed, is it? And if you're looking forward, you're anxious.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so we need to live in the present to be really content and happy, because you're either frustrated over what's gone on in your life and you don't like that, or you're worried about what's coming around the corner.
Well, sometimes it makes sense to let the future be part of our planning and visioning type of thing.
Right.
But it
But I'm
doesn't make
talking
sense.
about worry.
It doesn't make sense to, like, in that planning, to start thinking what could go wrong or all those other things that could be. So I think really when I look at this narrative of looking through the rearview mirror, looking through the windshield versus sitting in the car and being present in the car, I always like to say is, are you doing it with love or are you doing it with fear?
Right.
Because anxiety and depression have huge elements of deep, non-positive emotional construct. Whereas if you're doing it with love, you can actually look back with fond memories, even on something that might have been, like, I had an extremely traumatic relationship with my father, and I won't go into all the details, so we don't have enough time. It just turns out, as I look back on my journey and I go, I am now grateful that he showed up the way he did, because it wasn't something that he did to me. It was something that and I know we all had the to me, for me thing, but I really do look at the ideas. The person I am today had some origin elements in how my father showed up for me as a child, and even a teenager, and seeing things like that. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know that I wouldn't have been happy in another framing of however my journey would have shaped up. I just know that I'm happy with life today. So all of that, and I can look now back fondly, because I look back with love now on how he showed up in service to my journey. And there's lots of reasons why I could even go into that. I won't go into that now, why I think that was actually something that was a little bit on the planned side, whether the universe or whether the conspirators in our journey are all about. That I just want to, the idea is that looking back or forward needs to be done with some love and compassion and passion for what is a healthy perspective, as opposed to getting into that place of being anxious or depressed. So putting just to go back to what you said, Carol, this is, by the way, for those who don't know why I'm talking the way I am, hypnotherapy is part of my training. And so I look at the human condition all the time. So one way to start to release the fearful perspectives on past and future is to get into the present and then start being able to kind of edge your way back and forth with that love posture, that love position, which comes from actually that thing I was talking about before, is learning to love your journey, your life, you, the authentic you, and being able to then not only be in the present, as we've been talking about as a part of an ageless posture, but also being able to look back in a healthy way into the past and look forward in a healthy way into the future. Did I just yap too much for you guys?
Oh, that was perfect.
No, this is perfect. And I just want to put in there, forgiveness helps with both the future.
Well, forgiveness is a loving thing.
Yeah, it's a very high vibration act.
Right.
So anyway, Brian, this has been great. I wish we had more time.
Okay, well, I got to say one thing and then I'm going to shut up. You're always too young to not enjoy life, but look what's in bold. Always enjoy life.
Always enjoy life.
And we know that you do that. For those of y'all don't know, we've worked with Brian for some time now, and he's been just a joy in our lives. And I want to thank you, Brian, for coming on our show and for doing all the different events that you set up for us to attend. So anyway, thank you so much. Barbara, any last words?
Hey, you know what? This has been Thoughtful Thursday. So we will just see you next week. And we are so looking forward to it.
This is Aging Expert.
No, it's not. You started with Thoughtful Thursday.
No, she said aging. I don't know what you guys did. Hey,
so now we can use it on both.
We're gonna
I threw you off with the coffee cup. I usually have a coffee cup for Thoughtful Thursdays and a glass for Aging Experts.
Okay, well, we're totally present today, and we can just be present on Thursday too.
That's right. So thank you so much for coming on, Brian. We appreciate it, and really look forward to more conversations with you.
Let's do it.
So okay.
Right. Thanks,
so
Brian.
thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.